This week's episode of Still Untitled is brought to you by Sci-Fi's The Expanse. Imagine if hundreds of years from now we colonized Mars and the asteroid belt, but took all of Earth's worst problems with us, like corruption, deception, and injustice. The sci-fi series that IO9 named the best show of the year returns to explore what happens when we reach the stars, but still are at each other's throats. Based on the best-selling book series, The Expanse. All new episodes Wednesdays at 10/9 Central on Sci-Fi.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project.
I'm Norm.
I'm Adam.
I'm Simone.
And we have guest Simone.
Co-host.
Co-host. Yeah,
Yes.
no, really.
Really?
Yeah,
Can I
host.
level up to co-host,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
and stop being guest?
Yeah.
I
It
feel
always
that
feels
this...
it's always because it feels special when you're in the office.
Is it because I'm a foreigner? No?
No.
Is that it?
No,
Like,
no.
We can't get too attached to her. Let's keep her just guest.
No, we pretty much feel like you're in the family now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, first of all, we apologize. We
I'm sorry.
haven't been recording
I
for a
apologize.
couple weeks because of travels, the holidays.
And I didn't plan very well.
And Adam's very busy. Things are coming up. But you've also, I mean, that means there's a lot to catch up on.
There is a lot to catch up on. My goodness, what has been going on?
What's the biggest thing that's happened?
The biggest thing is that I went to Europe. I just was in Los Angeles and Europe for a couple of weeks. I've been filming a job for a client, which will become apparent in the next couple of months. Working with a wonderful co-host, science communicator, Allie Ward. She's fantastic and really awesome. And so my son also Thing 2 performed in London as part of an a cappella conference that was happening there with his vocal troupe from Oakland School for the Arts.
Okay.
So it happened to be that I was able to dovetail a business trip on going to London. So I flew to London on a Friday, saw him perform, hung out there Friday and Saturday, flew to Berlin on Sunday, spent 24 hours in Berlin, saw two of the oldest friends I have in the world, the amazing Stephen and Dagmar, who met because when I got married the first time, Stephen didn't get the address to my bachelor party and was in the wrong hotel
Oh, no.
where he met his future wife that night.
Oh,
That's a good
really?
story.
Yes.
Wow.
And then I was the minister at their wedding almost 20 years ago.
That is an amazing story.
And they had a daughter, Marlena. Marlena, I was, I think, one of the very first humans to meet her when she was fresh on this planet. And she's now 16 and amazing. And we got to sit there, two of my oldest friends and I, in a restaurant in Berlin, looking at our teenagers being like full adults sitting in front of us. It was awesome. So then from Berlin, we went to Rostock, and then a couple of other towns, finishing up in Papenburg. I got a helicopter flight out into the North Sea as part of this job, which was pretty amazing. And then from there, 16 hours in Amsterdam before flying home. And I have not been to Amsterdam. Holy cow, it's gorgeous.
yeah, you've never been?
No, I was astounded by how beautiful Amsterdam is.
Yeah.
I've only been once.
Oh.
10 years ago. Yeah.
So I know that there is a word that they have that means that specifically means like that warm feeling you have when you're with family at the holidays. All of Amsterdam feels like that word. Like the windows, there's no curtains on the windows. It's just inside of every house you can see this warm tableau of European domesticity.
Is there something in the air?
Cooking and chatting.
Something in the air?
What do you mean?
Is it,
What do you mean, Norm?
I don't know.
Follow through with that joke. Follow
Everyone knew
through.
what I was talking
Are you
about.
talking about politics?
No.
Oh, something in the air. Right. Yes. Yes.
Really? Are you okay, Adam?
No, I am.
Did you not get
I totally forgot. I forgot about, yeah.
But how do you handle, I feel when I do a trip, and I kind of try to do it in bulk, but even just 3 pit stops, it really gets to me. How do you do it with so many different stops and so many different things?
Through hard experience,
What's
I
the
have
tricks of the
learned to eat well. I try not to eat too much crap because it has a direct, literally, if I eat, and I've eaten the mini bar in many a hotel room on a late night where I couldn't sleep. And it has a long tail of feeling crappy. I don't drink, so that helps me attenuate my mood on the road without too much difficulty. But meditation, I make sure I get like 7 hours of sleep a night. And I didn't get 7 contiguous hours this whole trip, but I would snatch 2 hours here, 3 hours there, 2.5 hours here.
How is Thing 2 as a traveling companion?
Amazing. My boys are, so while Thing 2 was with me in Germany, Thing 1 was enjoying a break from his boarding school down in New York City. He was staying with my mom outside the city and going into the city every day, having a kind of wonderful grown-up vacation. The boys are like, they're charming, wonderful adults.
I saw Things 2 a cappella show here in San Francisco. Yes. Yeah, I was mind blown. I kind of thought of it as like okay, like let's go and support and kind of be like, yay. But I was like at the front of the crowd. I was sitting and dancing in my chair, which nobody else was, but they were amazing.
Yeah. So this group is Oakland School for the Arts choir called Vocal Rush. They do a lot of different gigs. They were playing at Yoshi's the night you saw them, Yoshi's Jazz Club in Oakland. But they also do corporate gigs. You can hire them for your corporate event. They're not that expensive and they're incredible. I mean, really like mind-blowingly great. And I love traveling with them. I love going to I went to Memphis with them last year. I saw them all in London and I watched them perform. And the London a cappella conference was just lovely. So this is like great a cappella groups from all over the world performing, showing you what a cappella looks like from all these different cultural standpoints.
Proud parent.
Yeah, I'm a very proud parent. Proud
Justified.
Papa.
And before you went on that trip, you were in the middle of Sketchfest. You had Janet Varney on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous because I did not put 2 and 2 together that she acts on one of my favorite shows.
What's that?
You're the Worst.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she plays the sister, Becca. Now, as I watched the podcast, I'm like, I regret
That's
not
when
being
you
there.
recognized her.
Yeah, I know. And she's been in a ton of stuff too. Stand vs. Evil, but yeah.
Janet's amazing, and her and Cole Stratton. I cannot. And the whole organization team of Sketchfest blows my mind that they're all sweet, friendly, lovely people who herd these cats around San Francisco, these comedians. And it's always a whole bunch of amazing shows when Sketchfest is here. Go and see all your comedy heroes, from Kids in the Hall to Monty Python to Spinal Tap to Key and Peele.
Oh, look at that.
There you go. Oh, it's up to 11. I love it.
I got a little pin on my jacket that's a volume button that goes up to 11.
That's lovely. And so Sketchfest is always like one of my favorite times of the year. It's when I get to see a lot of my friends.
Very cool.
What else happened? Tested viewers know this happened, but I was in London and I got kind of political on Twitter.
Well, you were traveling during. I mean, lots has happened in the political world since we last podcasted.
What has not happened? Good stuff.
And look, I'm going to express my opinion about politics from a specific vantage point, and it may be different than yours, and I respect that. I was reminded that Dorothy Parker used to hate answering the phone, and she used to answer the phone by saying, "What fresh hell is this?" And that is what I felt like checking the newspaper every morning while I was traveling. It was a difficult trip. And I have specific problems with some of the stuff that's going on, and I tweeted about them, and I tried my best, and I think I succeeded largely to tweet from a place of mutual respect and an attempt to understand and explain without getting polemic, without name-calling, without trivializing.
It was extreme civility.
I think that there's a lot of name-calling on both sides of the fence. I totally acknowledge that. And I don't think that it's very useful. And I think a lot of people are expressing their anger, which is important and great. I am interested not just in expressing my political feelings to the people I agree with, but also to those that I disagree with, that eventually, hopefully, we can find common ground.
I think it's such a difficult thing because, I mean, Twitter is just like an echo chamber. I realize that the people who follow me tend to agree with my opinions, and I follow the people who agree with my opinions. Yeah. And as soon as it goes outside of that realm, it gets really uncomfortable. Like,
it does.
when people who are, in particular, Trump supporters kind of latch onto your tweets, and it just gets really nasty. And I think it's such a difficult thing having like a good, constructive conversation when people get really, really pissed.
And you can debate whether it's possible to have a constructive conversation in 140 characters. Like, is that the right forum?
It may or may not be. For better or worse, it is the forum I'm most comfortable in right now. And I felt like I was having some very reasonable some very reasonable back and forth with people who disagreed with me. But then I did not see the level of nastiness I know other friends of mine have seen.
No.
And that definitely changes things. And I don't think there's any place for that. I think that when people get bullying or dismissive or directly insulting or especially even threatening, I don't think that's actually lending anything
It's
to.
really difficult because I feel that I kind of revert to wanting to kind of make fun of people and mock people. And I feel that that's what a lot of the late shows do as well, where it's like turning it into comedy, which is a way of dealing with it and that a lot of people can like draw strength from. But in some way, I also realize that just like increases the divide as well because you're mocking people.
Yeah.
And it's
And
just
people take it
really,
the wrong way.
And
yeah.
I take it on faith that the majority of people who disagree with me still have the same impulses that I do, which is that they want the world to be better for their kids than it was for them, that they want a good future for their kids and for the people they love around them. I really believe that most people want that, even if we disagree as to the methods to achieve that. Now, if someone out there is just a racist and they think they're better than other folks for some ridiculous reason of the lottery of their birth, I have no use for that.
Yep.
And I'm not even going to engage with arguing about that because it's not even wrong. So I just let that one go.
And so much of it is emotional, and that's why like so much of arguing is not about the substance, but about the feeling.
It feels like the stakes are really high. It genuinely feels like the stakes are really high. And at the point that I was tweeting, I was sitting there in my hotel room in London, unable to sleep from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., alternatively getting choked up and totally worked up. Anyway, suffice to say, I feel an important need to find a balance, and I have been really working on that balance over the past couple of weeks to continue to tweet about the stuff that I love, just like people building stuff that's awesome to them, but also engaging.
I think it's really difficult not to let it get to you. Like I've had nightmares like every night of the week.
Oh, man.
And it just like
is this because people are particularly threatening or shitty to you?
No. It hasn't been that bad, but just because it feels like it just gets under your skin, all the stuff that's happening, and it is hard not to be engaged in it and at the same time keep an emotional distance to it. I just feel that it really creeps into everything. And I'm also like, I mean, raging on Twitter in all its glory, but I'm also like, what is that actually helping?
Well, and that's like to that point, I read the comments on Tested, and I know that a bunch of our Tested listeners disagree with me politically, but appreciate that we've talked about it here in a balanced way. And I exhort anybody who really understands that they disagree with us on a political level to still understand that the feeling that you've had is a common feeling that anybody has when they don't feel like they have a voice in their government or their culture.
I don't know. It's just difficult to know what actually makes a difference. Like I was at SFO and protesting, and it's also like, it's not like people are going to be like, oh, wow, that Swedish girl came there. Now we finally have to listen. Like,
yes, there's a Gandhi quote, which I love, which is, it may feel that what you're doing is insignificant, but it's vital that you do it. And those numbers of people respectfully protesting, lending their voice, nonviolent, non-cooperation. And I recognize even there are liberal voices that totally disagree with me on this, but to me, that has a real weight to it. And the protests around the country in airports, the lawyer pools working together to make sure that we are still a country of laws where people have the rights enshrined in our Constitution is really vital. And I really appreciated watching how those protests played out around the country.
And it motivates me to be more informed, to be better informed, and to support the institutions like news, like journalism, that we have maybe taken for granted over the past couple cycles.
There's one thing that's driving me crazy. Okay, and then we're going to move off of politics. Yep. One last thing that drives me crazy, which is a term I read about in Russian politics called Whataboutism, which is, I will tweet something like I did the other night, like, I disagree with POTUS's stance on this. And someone will say, what about Obama did blah, blah, blah. And I fully appreciate that I may agree with you that I didn't think Obama's policy back in the past. I'm not saying that POTUS is unique and a unicorn in his political leanings, or that I'm only disagreeing with him and I've never disagreed with a Democratic president. Whataboutism is a way to kind of like flash bang throw you off the conversation. What Obama did in the past isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I have a specific issue with this thing that's happening here, and Twitter is packed with whataboutism.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a lot of like in feminism as well, where people are like, what? But what about people in developing countries and women there? And they can't like even have a whatever. And
It's the same
like,
as all lives.
Yeah. It's, I mean, yeah. Okay. Off of politics.
Off of
Fun
politics,
stuff that's happened.
What's that?
Fun stuff that's happened.
Yes.
Do you have anything fun things that's happened? I love you're wearing the trip patch.
I am wearing a trip patch that you gave me, which
This
I'm
is
really
designed by my friend Isaac Hathaway. It's actually my son's best friend. And I say son's plural. He's both of my son's best friend.
really.
Yeah, and
I
he's
didn't know
amazing
that. I
patch
just
designer.
got no. It's a great patch. I wear it with pride. Fun
I
stuff
gave
that's
I gave one
happening,
to
yeah.
Al Warden when he came by the shop a couple of weeks ago. Apollo 15 astronaut Al Warden, and he totally loved it.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's trippy.
I have been reading the third book in the Three Body Problem trilogy,
Oh my God.
Death's End.
How's that?
Dude, these 3 books just get better and better and better. Death's End is dense and intense. I'm about a third of the way in. I started it yesterday morning. I took yesterday off. And
To read the book.
just to not work in the shop, because I got back from Amsterdam, and I was here the next morning plowing away
Yeah.
on a 12-hour day to get stuff done for Brain Candy. We're finishing up all the props for Brain Candy. And by the way, the video of my ping pong machine gun,
Yeah.
I have so radically improved it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on Saturday, that's what I spent the day doing. Holy cow, I've got a really amazing device, and it's pretty unique.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Norm,
Yeah.
what's good in your life other than Ripley being amazing?
She pooped in the house twice.
Oh,
What?
really?
Yeah. Yeah, we left her with
What a
someone to
bitch.
take care of her while I was on vacation, and there's some training might have been undone. I've been going through so we have a couple laser cutters in the office, and a long time ago, Adam, we talked about recasting, right? The controversy with recasting, and that's the idea that people buy props or buy things and then make a mold of them themselves and then start selling them.
Well, and to be specific, let's just be really clear here. Within the prop collecting community, if you own the original version of a prop and you throw it into rubber and make castings available, that's genuinely considered okay.
Yeah.
But if you are a prop, if you have made your own version of that prop, you've sculpted your own Sankara stones or your own Blade Runner gun, and somebody else takes pieces of that or takes that and sells it as theirs, that's recasting, and that's considered really shitty.
So I've come to this conflict where I feel like I'm doing something similar, but with laser cutting, because I bought a model kit, and I bought the one model kit and I wanted it in a different material. So I scanned it and traced it in Illustrator. And as I was doing it, I was like, is this the same as recasting?
I disagree. If it's for your personal use, I don't see a problem with that. You're not making it available to other people.
I'm not
You're-
selling it. No.
Like the article that I read about entrepreneurs who look for Kickstarters that have
Yeah,
a lot of
the
backing
widget.
and
Yeah, the
then
fidget,
jump
yes.
in before. That's the worst. That makes me really angry.
Yeah.
But I if it's for your personal use and you want to see something made in a different material, I think that's totally
As
reasonable.
like a creator, if I were to make something and make a kit and I could see that other people were excited about it and they wanted to build on top of it and make it like develop it or build it in other materials, that would probably just make me happy. And I feel that that's like such an intricate or like big part of the maker community of sharing it and not being like, no, this is the end product and this is what you're supposed to do with it. Can't
Yeah, all I
see
could hear
anyone
was
being mind.
the creator's voice, like, why don't you just buy 2? Why didn't you buy 2 or 3 of them?
Yeah,
as
but
opposed
you
to,
wanted it in a different material.
Yeah. But I can also, once I've designed the files, I can make as many as I want on my own.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, as long as you're not providing those files to other people and taking up their market share, to me, again, I still think you're within a reasonable moral ground. Again, that's arguable, but I feel pretty okay
Yeah,
about
no.
All right,
gosh.
I'm validated.
Out of all the stuff that's
Vindicated.
going on, you're okay.
Okay.
You're not.
Let's see what else has happened. Oh, I watched Doctor Strange.
Oh,
Have
the
you
movie.
seen Doctor
Yes.
Strange?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I fell asleep. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was very, very, very trippy.
I thought it was really cheesy.
Yeah, it is cheesy. I totally agree with that. And it's very difficult. Hugh, what's his name? Benedict Cumberbatch's
American
magnificent
accent.
voice becomes very tinny when it's in an American accent. I mean, I recognize that was part of the point.
I just feel really bad because I feel that Stranger or Doctor Strange and the Star Trek movie that we watched
Star
are
Trek
like
Beyond, yeah.
are like the two like movies that kind of you like the tested people are like, Simone, I have to watch this, and I've fallen asleep both times. I'm like,
That's fine.
I'm a fraud.
You don't
I should-
have to watch anything.
There's no requirement to get in the club.
It's not in the job description.
No, not even a little bit.
No, I mean,
Now, John Wick 2.
I did appreciate, like, ever since I've joined Tested, I started appreciating movie props more. I did appreciate a lot of the props that they had in there and thought that they had a lot of really beautiful items in it.
I agree. I thought I loved his cloak that
The
he moved
costuming.
around.
Yeah.
I did not like the asymmetric cut on his coat. Or like on his cloak. That really put me off because it just looked like it was like sewn a little bit wrong.
I also love Tilda Swinton.
Because that.
Tilda Swinton is the ancient one. But she's an actress. She's been in everything from Snowpiercer, Orlando, Michael Clayton. She's an incredible British actress. She's so beautiful.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's an amazing performer.
She's bald in the movie, right?
Yes, she is bald in the movie. Yeah. Bald as a ping pong ball.
The finale of that film, I love. And it's the last thing I'll say is that the finale action sequence was so innovative. Like, I've never seen an action sequence done using time that way.
Yeah. And actually, I liked some of the jokes in it. There's one point in which he's facing off against the bad guy. This is not a spoiler alert, but the bad guy's like, "No, my way is the true way." And Doctor Strange goes, "Look at your face." Again, one of my favorite jokes is when the main character of a movie says exactly what you're thinking. You can only be evil.
That's good. Good movies is good. I've been building a lot of stuff.
You have?
I took 3 days off because I haven't had a day off in a long time. And I just stayed off the internet and cut shit up.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
like
did you make?
not people.
What did you make?
But I made a staircase. So I got a new loft bed. I moved into a new house. So I made a staircase for the loft bed that also doubles as like a shelf system. I made a shelf for my projector. I made a coffee table. I don't
Dude, a
know.
new
I've
coffee
just been doing random stuff. It's like a good way to kind of shut your brain off.
I totally agree. It's meditative.
Yeah. No, and also, but I get so carried away that I'm like, I work for 10 hours and like my body is just like shaking. And you forget to eat. Like I get really caught up in it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to be like, no, Simone, you need to like lay on the couch for a while and take it easy.
I came back from Amsterdam and I had some packages to open and I started opening them and I cut my finger.
Oh, no.
And that's when I stopped opening them and I went and took a bath and went to sleep. Yeah. Because I was like, you should stop doing it. You might feel like it's time to do some work, but clearly you are not qualified right now.
No, it is. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to hurt myself one day badly because you're just like, no, I'm just going to keep on going. I just need to finish this step. Also, I have this weird thing where I want to do everything myself. Like I have plenty of friends that I could call in to like help out. So they built a loft bed in my apartment and they built it way too high. And I was like, I'm going to lower it.
Yourself.
And it's a pretty big, like they built the bed like a fucking house. Like it's heavy. I bet it's like leaning on like 300 pounds. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to lower it. I could call over my friend, but no, I'm just going to do it myself. And I don't know. It's just a lot of folly. Grit and folly.
I do the same thing. I used to have a benchtop Enco mill here. It weighs 600 pounds and I got it onto its stand myself alone here. And I did it carefully. Don't worry. But I love doing stuff like that. I'm like you. I'm not going to call people on a Sunday. I'm just going to be like, let's just work through this problem.
Yeah, it's also like it is extra satisfying because you're like, no, I did it myself. Yeah, I just like lowered it and you figure it out how to do it. I mean, it's a sweaty process, like because I got these really strong. What are those like cable? No.
Yeah, straps.
Straps,
Web
that you
straps?
have for cars. So I got to find a few of those and like threw them over one of the ribs in my house and lower it. It was really sweaty when I did it and kind of nerve wracking because I was like, this thing could just like fall straight down the staircase, but it worked out fine. But yeah, it's stupid. You should just call people because you can also like break your back
point of
and
pride.
nobody would notice.
It's your equivalent of going into from the grocery store with all the grocery bags in one go.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Living on the wild side.
I've been playing some music. Have we talked about the guitar thing?
No.
Okay,
What's
so
the guitar thing?
well, the guitar. Both my sons play guitar really well. They're both far better musicians than I will ever be, which is awesome. And I have decided to put I decided for Brain Candy, I wanted a song in the show, and a friend of mine who's a wonderful musician, Ken Pattingale from the Milk Carton Kids, wrote this beautiful song for our show, specifically for Brain Candy, for the ukulele. And I've been playing the ukulele and practicing this song so that we can sing it on stage. It's really, really fun. First of all, that's really fun. Second of all, I've been playing the ukulele. I have a couple of them, and I realized I wanted a deeper tone out of the ukulele, so I bought a baritone uke, which I'm not going to use on this tour, but I liked the deeper tone, and then I realized this is almost a guitar. So I went to my son thing too, and I was like, is there a guitar that's a little smaller? Because I can't deal with the Dreadnought, the big size guitar that everyone plays. And he said, oh, yeah, you want a parlor guitar? And I was like, and the neck is too thin for my fat fingers. And he's like, oh, you want a classical neck? So I bought a parlor guitar with a classical neck, and it's been really fun. I've just been slowly learning some chords and learning some songs.
It's funny. It's a slippery slope. You start with like the tiniest like ukulele, and then you're going to have like a cello or whatever. I just need something bigger.
I was told by my son's music teacher at his old school that the biggest secret in music is that the stand-up bass is by far the most fun instrument to play physically. That like if you get good at it, it is just super. She's like, oh my God, there's nothing better.
No,
I can believe
really
that.
cool.
I mean, if you go and see Penn and Teller's stage show in Vegas, Penn and Jonesy is their musical director and plays beautiful, amazing jazz piano as the audience is coming in. And Penn is often playing with him on the stand-up bass. Yeah. Which is, the bass is almost as tall as Penn.
Can I request a song? On your ukulele, if you're going to learn a new song.
What's the song?
This has nothing to do with anything. Can you do the Adventure Time intro?
Oh, I'll take a look.
Yeah,
I'll look into it. Yeah.
So I got really disappointed and sad because I have a very active bucket list, and I always looking for new things to put in there because I always do stuff, and I'm like, fuck it, I forgot to put that on my bucket list and now I can't cross it off and feel accomplished. But one of the things was I'd really want to do a voiceover for Adventure Time, which is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. And then I realized they're discontinuing the show. They just they just recorded the last episode, so I totally missed that one.
You could take an old episode and redub your voice on top of it.
Yeah, so I've done that with my friend. This is a fun game. I can recommend it. My friend Daniel Beauchamp and I used to watch Adventure Time episodes that we hadn't watched before without the audio. And we'd do our own voiceovers and improvise on top of it. It's trippy because even watching it with the voice, you have no idea what's going on. So without the audio, it's even more confusing. And it's really fun to,
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah. But so I'd done that. But I'd want to do an official voice. But now it's too late.
It might come back.
Who knows? You're right. It might come back. And now you've said it in public. So maybe
I was going to put it out there.
Someone asked me on Twitter, have you ever seen Phineas and Ferb? And I was like, I didn't say this, but seen it. Jamie and I played all the Stormtroopers in their Star Wars episode.
Oh.
Really? What's this?
Phineas and Ferb? Phineas and Ferb is a wonderful animated show. It's deeply invested with the heart of making and problem solving and a critical thinking way of looking at the world. It's fantastic.
And you did voiceovers for that?
We did. Yeah, they did a Star Wars episode, and they hired Jamie and I to do all of the Stormtroopers on the theory that they were just a small number of clones, for instance. Yes.
But you did a lot of voices. Like, I know you have the Simpsons episode.
Yeah, Jamie and I were
Simpsonized.
And then when I was a kid, I actually, my father, I've said this on the podcast, my father was an animator on Sesame Street, did many animated spots, and I did some of the voiceovers for those too. Yeah, voiceover work It's the best.
Yeah?
Absolutely the best. Go into that booth, cone of silence, using just your voice. It's pretty awesome.
Your face is not an obstacle.
No.
I can
A
get behind
face
that.
for radio, as they
A
say in
face
the
for
halls of
radio.
NPR.
Yeah.
And you guys talked to Angus about this, about voiceover work?
We haven't.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know
really?
what? And that's a tease because you guys haven't seen this yet,
Angus.
but one of
Listen
our
to
new
this
friends
voice.
is Angus MacLean, who's a Pixar director and
Master Lego builder.
And Master
Master
Lego
All at the
builder.
same
Lego builder.
time.
And he's going to be on the show Building Lego with Simone and Adam in the future.
It was really fun.
And I mean, I'm surprised you guys didn't talk
No,
about voiceover
That
and
is-
animation.
yeah, okay.
We got to get him back then.
Yeah,
It's totally
we got to
true.
get him back.
We have to get him back. We have to talk about that because a lot of people. Well, we talked about it while building Legos about how voiceovers are recorded for those films. They record a scratch track long before they bring in the movie stars, so that they have something to storyboard and animate against.
I'll do a scratch track. Yeah, I do anything. I just want. It seems like a really fun thing to do.
What else has been going on?
Oh gosh.
Let's see. I keep getting wonderful pictures of people's tiny workshops. I never tire of seeing the ingenuity people have in
Have
small
you seen my
spaces.
workshop?
I have not.
No, you've seen my
Yeah, it's
workshop.
great. Yeah.
It's actually a pretty solid
really
one. I think you
cool
might like
place.
it.
Yeah.
I feel that I can relate to your workshop organization frenzy in a different way now that I have my own workshop. It's actually the first time that I have one, and that's one thing that's been on my bucket list for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all over that shit.
So you got really excited
do
about
you-
organization.
Do you
Yeah.
clean at the end of every day?
No, I don't. But I never clean. But I do have a label maker.
Oh,
And it's the most satisfying thing. I just want to label everything.
they're the best. They're the best. And every label from a label maker carries two messages. One is, here's what's in this. The other is, I have a label maker.
Yes.
Right? Every label from a label maker displays the pleasure of the owner. And
Yeah. Toothbrush,
toothbrush.
fork,
Yep.
plant.
Totally.
Just label all the things.
No, and since Tom Sachs gave me one of those whiteout pens, and I've been replacing my label maker labels with written white
maybe
pen
that's a
because it's
good
much more visible from
one.
farther
Yeah.
away. And
also
my eyes
a
are
little
getting
bit
older.
more personalized. Yeah, I don't like that you can't choose the font in the label maker.
Well, there are label makers in which you
yeah,
can choose
probably,
the font.
but
You
I
just
have
need to
a
go get a
cheap
different one.
Yeah, but I buy so much stuff off of Amazon. I feel so bad. I need to, put a stop. I'm settling on the label
Well,
maker.
so if you have an extra label maker with choosable fonts that you'd like to bequeath to Simone, you can send it to Tested. Oh,
Yes,
the other thing that
thank you, Adam.
The other thing, we haven't put up the smoke video yet, have we?
What's the smoke video?
The
What
smoke
type
machine,
of smoke stuff?
The smoke machine build.
Oh,
No.
Right. So we have some smoke machines that we're using for the for brain candy, and I found these smoke machines. I've got to show you one. They're amazing. They're all made out of Bakelite, and they were made by Mole Richardson foggers. For movies, and I grew up in the film industry using these, and we're using them on stage, and I managed to find a couple of backups. So now I have 3 of these, and they're rare as hen's teeth. 110 volt Mole Richardson Bakelite foggers are really hard to buy now because Mole no longer sells them. So to have 3, I'm very excited about that. I've got 3 working models.
that's a good piece of. Does it smell a lot?
It's aerosolized glycol, so it smells. It's effectively a mineral oil smoke. I
It's the
love
same
the
as
smell.
modern fog machines.
Yeah,
are
it's
same
any
meaning,
kind
yeah.
of disco fog machine or theater fog
But
machine.
I'm wondering, could you make that as a part of like your home automation, so your home knows like when you're about to come home.
So it could just throw a
you
little
can
atmosphere?
walk out, like walk in a cloud of smoke, and you just appear.
Oh, Simone, we could totally make that work.
Oh, I just want more dramatic entrances in my life.
That's totally possible. You could completely do that. You'd need a proximity sensor and it'd have to fire up the smoke machine like half an hour before you left.
Alexa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alexa.
right, yeah.
I am leaving in half an hour. Roger that, Simone. I'll power up the smoke machine.
Yeah. No, that'd be great. I feel that there needs to be more smoke machines in everyday life.
Okay. I can hook you up. I have a couple of extras here.
Yeah, and
Yes.
since Adam's been gone, we've been doing a lot of build projects in the office, things that will be unveiled on the site. Sean and Jeremy, things I want to tell everyone they're working on a new video series for us. It's called Bits to Atoms. Their first project we just unveiled last week was a MAME cabinet. They turned a Coleco old school, like Donkey Kong style small tabletop arcade cabinet into an arcade MAME machine, and it's all 3D printed. You'll be pleased as Sean was able to model and 3D print dovetails into his pieces that all perfectly fit together, and generated the software, and we have all those files online so people can follow along and build their own.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
And we'll be working on more builds. Simone, we're going to a fun place next month. Can we say?
Are we?
Can we say?
Where am I
We're going
going?
to Switzerland.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, no, we're going to Switzerland.
We're going abroad for a fun trip.
You know what?
Yeah.
It was such a fun trip, and then my brother is coming as well, and he really wants to go to the Alps and ski, and I hate skiing because I had a really traumatic experience with a lift. Or with one of the ski lifts where I got it in my face. They are terrifying, and it gives me such a bellyache. I'd rather just like walk up the mountain. So that whole trip now I dread it because I might have to go skiing.
When Thing 1 and 2 and I drove across the country, we went God, I can't even remember where it was, but we rode a ski lift in the summer to the top of a mountain.
Oh, really?
That's even scarier.
In the summer, twice as bad as when it's snowing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because when you get off
you just see hard ground and rocks below you.
Yeah, you see what's actually below you. It's further
here's
away.
the best part is you're going up. You're like, ooh, this is scary. This is scary. You get up, you look, you have lunch. It's nice up here. And then you realize you've got to go down, which is twice as bad because it looks twice as far when you're facing the incline, facing away from the incline.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. I actually had a nightmare tonight or like last night about skiing.
So as I'm about to head out on Brain Candy, a 7-week tour, which will take me through the beginning of April. We will maintain podcasts. Yep. We may do them from on the road, but we will. I'm sorry about the break in Still Untitled. I saw your various tweets that you guys were missing it, and I apologize. I will plan better for this tour so that we don't miss out.
What's the closest show to San Francisco you're going to have?
I believe we're playing in San Jose.
Yeah.
And also in Santa Rosa. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and that's going to be close to the end of the tour. So end of March, beginning
in
of
Reno.
April.
We finish up in Reno on April 10th.
How much are the tickets?
Correct. I actually I don't know exactly how much the tickets are, but you can buy them at braincandylive.com.
There you go.
Still tickets available for most shows. We're sold out of a few of them. So if you're thinking about coming, come. The thing that I've been saying to people is brain candy is that feeling of understanding in your head, right? So I came across this while reading a paper about, I came across this one fact I love while reading a paper about combustion, because that's the kind of thing I do in my spare time. And this paper said combustion is an exothermic reaction that uses hydrocarbons and oxygen to create heat and light. That's pretty unassailable. And they asked rhetorically, what is the opposite of combustion? And they pointed out that photosynthesis is an endothermic reaction that uses CO2 and light and heat to create oxygen and hydrocarbons. So the opposite of a fire is a plant.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was some delicious brain candy right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's a good place to end.
I think so.
We'll see you guys next week. It's fun catching up with everyone.
Thanks, guys.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
This week's episode of Still Untitled was also brought to you by Casper mattresses. Casper is, of course, an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. It combines springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right amount of sink and just the right bounce. An in-house team of engineers spent thousands of hours developing the Casper. Its breathable design helps you regulate your temperature throughout the night. Time magazine even named it one of the best inventions of 2015. Try Casper for 100 nights risk-free in your own home. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. Casper understands the importance of truly sleeping on a mattress before you commit, especially if you're going to spend a third of your life on it. And Casper mattresses are, of course, made in America, and you have free shipping and returns in the US and Canada. Now, listeners of Still Untitled will get $50 toward any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/untitled and using the offer code UNTITLED. Terms and conditions apply. See you next week.